Namaste. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today is the 20th of December 2017. The following is the Vedic astrology reading for Senator John McCain, based on the 29th of August 1936 at 6:25 p.m. in Panama. Now you can pause this anytime you want and just read this whole background information. I actually think we should do a movie on this guy. He's a very, very interesting character, his entire life. But let me just overlay the systems approach to Vedic astrology and show you how we would interpret his chart. So first, let's just take a quick look at the larger view of this here. So in the first house, he has the 11th sign Aquarius, ascending or rising at 13 degrees 3 minutes, with Saturn retrograde at 27 degrees 8 minutes in the first house. Now you know we read the chart from the ascendant or rising sign because this is much more specific to the individual. This changes every 2 hours of the day, approximately. Whereas the sun sits in one sign for 30 days and the moon sits in one sign for 2.5 days. So the ascendant represents a person's name, fame, health, appearance, personality, reputation, and longevity of life. The 11th sign, Aquarius, is an air sign. There are 3 air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We say that air sign persons are quite brilliant, quite intelligent. But only Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So it gives a different color to the intelligence. Saturn is the planet of hard work and service, perseverance, patience, long-lived accomplishments, and longevity of life. And it's sitting in the first house in its own sign of Aquarius. So technically this becomes a Panch Mahapurusha Yoga, one of the 5 great yogas of life. This one is called Sasha Yoga, which makes a person a senior statesperson. So this gives him the perseverance to get through the Vietnam conflict, where he spent about 5 years as a prisoner of war under torture. But he went on to become very much involved in helping other people, service to humanity. That's what he's done his whole life work. Aquarians are very unconventional, imaginative, inventive, humanitarians, angels of delight living in the future. Quite advanced people, quite advanced thinkers. Some of them don't turn out so good. I think the Unabomber, Theodore Krasinski, whatever his name was Aquarius rising sign. So he took it in a negative way, but he became very reclusive. In the second house, we have the 12th sign Pisces. In the third house, first sign Aries. Fourth house, the second sign Taurus. Fifth house, the third sign Gemini. So this is Ketu, K-E-T-U, the southern node of the moon in the fifth house. Ketu is known as Moksha Karaka, significator for spiritual advancement and enlightenment. And the fifth house is mind. So this gives a person a spiritual outlook on life. He's probably quite conservative and religious. By the way, if Rahu and Ketu, this is the northern node of the moon, Rahu, R-A-H-U, this is the southern node, Ketu. They are mathematical ecliptic points in a zodiac. So we have to manage them. Nobody escapes Rahu and Ketu. They can cause the eclipse of the sun and the moon in anybody's chart. They do cause the eclipse of the sun and the moon every year since the beginning of time. So if they can bring darkness to the royal luminary sun and moon, we have to be careful. Now I'm glad that Rahu and Ketu were not at 13 degrees, because that would be a disaster. This number is not an arbitrary number. There are 30 degrees possible, 0 to 30. So always check your rising sign degree, because that is known as most effective point of every house. And any planet within a 5-degree orb of that, so that would start about 8 degrees, go up to about 18 degrees, would have an impact in the house it occupies and in the houses it aspects. The closer to 13 degrees, the more potent it is. It would be 100%, for example, at 13 degrees. At 12 or 14, it would be 80%. So at 11 or 15, it would be 60%. Like that, you take about 20% per degree. But this is, it's good that Rahu and Ketu are not at 13 degrees. So this gives the religious or spiritual outlook. In the 6th house of 4 sign Cancer, we have Mars in the 6th house. Mars rules his 3rd house. So this is the house of communications and independent projects. It is in the 6th house. This is a Dustan Bhava, inauspicious house. It's the house of conflict and disputes, enemies. So whenever a person has the 3rd house ruler in the 6th house, they have to be vigilant with their speech, because other people will take them the wrong way. And he has been involved in a number of controversies and disputes and conflicts in life. This also causes trouble for the muscular parts of the body and the energy level, which I assume he suffered quite a bit from the effects of the Vietnam War. In the 7th house, we have the 5th sign Leo. This is Sun in Leo. This is absolutely powerful. Here's a planet Sun in its own Multricone sign of Leo. I actually think Multricone signs are more powerful than exaltation signs. See, Sun is exalted over in Aries. So let's say Sun was up here exalted. People would go, oh, that's powerful, exalted Sun. Well, they're not thinking this through deeply enough. If Sun is in Aries, then it is going to be codependent on the strength of its dispositor, its landlord, which is Mars. So in this case, Mars is debilitated, and in the 6th house of Dustan Bhava. So this weakness of Mars would completely undermine the strength of Sun in its exaltation sign. So it loses its power. Now here, Sun in Leo is codependent on nobody. He rules Leo. So it doesn't matter. It's not codependent. Now he could be, let's say Sun was at 8 degrees, and this Rahu at 8 degrees would be afflicting the Sun. But it's not. So this Sun, what this Sun does is in the 7th house, this gives royal government relationships. This is the house of relationships, partnerships, joint ventures, and foreign lands. And Sun in its own sign speaks very well for his father and grandfather, who were both 4-star admirals in the United States Navy. That's how powerful that Sun is. And we do check the 1/9 divisional chart, the Navamsh chart. Here, look at this Sun. It's in Leo here. So that's called Vargotama. When a planet is in the same house here and it is over here, or the same house here as it is over here, that's called Vargotama. That's good. So that strengthens Sun. Now, because Sun is close to the rising sign degree, look at this. It aspects the 1st house of self. And what is Sun? Sun is the king. Sun is the government. Sun is politics. It's leadership. So he's just natural-born leader. He ran for president twice. Didn't make it, but he's been senator for 30 years or something. Senior senator. So government position. 8th house, 6th sign Virgo. This is Mercury in its own Multricone sign, which is favorable, at 9 degrees 45 minutes, and Venus at 0 degrees 18 minutes. Now, those of you that have been following my case studies, and those of you that study systems approach to Vedic astrology, you know that of these 12 houses, from the first house around through to the 12th house, only 9 houses are favorable. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, 7th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Those are favorable houses. Planets in those houses are considered well placed. But 3 houses in every horoscope are inauspicious houses. These are the 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. These are called Dustambhavas, inauspicious houses. Planets going into the 6th, 8th, and 12th become weak by position unless they rule that house. Let's say Moon was down here in Cancer. Then that's okay. It's good when a planet's in its own sign. But this Mars becomes weak, this Venus becomes weak, and this Moon becomes weak. Mercury does not become weak because it's in its Multricone sign. Even though this is a negative house, he loves being in his own sign. This is Mercury's own sign of Virgo, its exaltation sign of Virgo, its Multricone sign of Virgo. So that basically blesses the 8th house. So that can give the marital bond. He's had 2 marriages. This can give windfalls and easy money, which he's had in life, and it can give an inheritance. And the 8th house is the house of marital bond, so it can give an inheritance connected with marriage. And he married a woman. His second wife is an heiress worth over $100 million. Now Venus is also wife, and it's in the 8th house. This 8th house is called Randra, means transformations and vulnerability. It's also connected with accidents and death-like experiences. So this suggests that his wife, or he's had 2 marriages, both wives have some level of vulnerability in life. Venus is at 0 degrees. There's the first 5 degrees is called infant state and weak, and the last 5 degrees is called old age and weak. So it would be good for Senator McCain to strengthen his Saturn by wearing a blue sapphire gemstone, navy blue colors and black colors. I think he does that naturally, so that helps. But that would help with his health, his appearance, and his longevity of life. But this Venus becomes weak also because it's in its debilitation sign. So this is a pretty weak Venus. So that may cause trouble with his kidneys, his pancreas, reproductive organs. It causes some vulnerability for a wife, even for father. See, his father had some vulnerability because his son was captured and served as a POW in Vietnam, which was Senator McCain. But Venus is in the house of accidents and death-like experiences. So his first wife was in a very serious car accident while he was in Vietnam as a POW. She suffered greatly. When he got back, they both went through physical rehab together for some time. But then he left his wife for another woman. So, and both wives have had, see, his first wife had that death-like experience because her husband's in prison camp. He's a POW in Vietnam. So she was very vulnerable. And now his current wife is vulnerable because he's been going through these tremendous health issues and currently battling this cancer, this brain cancer. So someone should have told him to wear a diamond gemstone when he was about 20 years old for Venus. 10th house, 8th sign, Scorpio. This is Jupiter in the house of career. This 10th house is career, karma, the field of action, professional life. And Jupiter actually rules Sagittarius. This is the house of gains and income. So it brings gains, income, and friendships into his professional life. And it connects his professional life with education. He also went to Annapolis, the Naval Academy, Annapolis. Very powerful. And it also brings some level of luck into the professional life. And he's good at teaching, and anyways, it's good. It brings education into it and gains into his professional life. 11th house, 9th sign Sagittarius with Rahu. Now, Rahu is a planet of desires and ambition. If it's not afflicting other houses, signs, and planets, it can give good results. So this is the house of income and friendships. So he's had tremendous income and substantial friendships. In the 12th house, we have the 10th sign Capricorn, and this is Moon in Capricorn. So I suspect he handles his emotional state through very practical, earthy. Capricorn is very earthy and very practical. See, sometimes, like if Moon is in Pisces, the person is way overly too sensitive. Here, the person handles through very earthy, very kapha situation. But because Moon rules the 6th house of enemies and disputes and conflicts, and it's in the 12th house of foreign lands, see, he ended up as a POW in a foreign land. This also undermines his health. Moon rules the 6th house of health. Now, just if you're an Aquarius or know somebody who's an Aquarius, tell them not to wear any white colors or pearls, P-E-A-R-L-S. Those are not so good for them. He was probably wearing white in the Navy and ended up in prison. I think there's a photograph of him. He was a pilot, shot a lot of missions, but I remember seeing him in a white suit, and I thought that was not good for Aquarius. And Aquarius should not wear emeralds or green either. Those are not good for them. Aquarians should help mother or mother-in-law on Mondays. They should help children and students in distress on Wednesdays. So he could have worn a diamond to strengthen Mercury. He could have worn a red coral to strengthen Mars. And a blue sapphire to strengthen Saturn. Jupiter is not codependent on anyone, but in the 1/9 divisional chart, Jupiter is debilitated. So that causes some weakness relative to Jupiter. So he might have trouble with liver, gallbladder, and hips as well. Here's Moon in Pisces here, and Mercury's debilitated here. So that weakness of Mercury, see, Mercury rules the house of marital bond, and it's debilitated over here, so it did cause multiple marriages. Within the Vamsh chart, Venus is a favorable planet. It rules this 10th house of career, and it's in the 1st house of self. So that this is the house of inner fortitude and the house of spouse. So that can give him a beautiful wife. His wife was a model, I think his second wife. Jupiter here, ruling the 12th house of separations in foreign lands, is in the 1st house of marriage. So, and it's debilitated, so they did cause some separation. Here we go. Okay, so when you get a chance, read all this. The current situation is that he's in a Mercury main period, which runs until December 2023, and he's in a Rahu subperiod. This is your Mahadasha is your main period of time, your general trend or riverbed of time. So he's in 17 years of Mercury right now. And the subperiod, the Antradasha, is Rahu. And we just read the Mahadasha and the Antradasha, the main period and the subperiod, and then we overlay transits. That's all we need to do to see anything. Now, some astrologers will use 3 levels of dashas, 4 levels of dashas, even 5 levels of dashas, and several different dasha systems. And in my opinion, that is just going in circles, never arriving anywhere. We want to arrive somewhere. So let's keep it simple. Truth is simple. Insecurity breeds complexity. So a lot of astrologers were insecure, and they ended up with all these very complex situations. Well, let's do Ashtakavargas and Bindu points, and read the chart Bhavat Bhavam, and read it from the sun sign, and read it from the moon sign, and 5 levels deep. I mean, it's just crazy. No. Professor Chowdhury's work was just brilliant. Truth is simple. 4 elements to astrology: the 12 houses, the 12 signs, the 9 planets, and the timing of events. Keep it simple. So the current subperiod is Rahu. Now here's my concern for him. This Rahu runs to the end of next December. So let's go back to a little bit. Well, let's leave it here for now. Okay, Rahu is the operating planet. So where is Rahu right now? This is the transit chart. So this is his birth chart, and this is the transit chart. All significant events in life are connected with the transits of the planets. Now, I don't think you have to chase all 9 planets. Many of them are fast-moving. They're here today, gone tomorrow. So they don't bring long-lived results. However, 4 planets do. And that's Jupiter takes 12 to 13 months to go through a sign. Rahu and Ketu take 18 months to go through a sign. Saturn takes 2.5 years to go through a sign. So you always want to know those 4 slow-moving planets are. If you want to chase the royal sun, that's fine, because Sun is king of the planetary cabinet. It spends 30 days in each sign. That's a good one to know. But here's my concern. Rahu and Ketu are currently at 21 degrees. Now here's another technique that nobody knew about before Professor Chowdhury. I have 108 books on Vedic astrology. There's a lot of books and chapters talking about Rahu and Ketu. Most astrologers know that Rahu and Ketu travel retrograde. They always go backwards. So when they move into a house, they start at 30 degrees and they work their way down to 0 degrees and then go to the next house. It takes 18 months to do that. But it was only Professor Chowdhury that brought out the point that while they're doing this transit, they will stop at a particular degree for up to 3 months at a time. And if that happens to be your particular degree or on top of one of your planets for those 3 months, you're definitely going to feel it. You are definitely going to feel it. You know, the first month you're going to say something is wrong. The second month you say something is seriously wrong. And the third month you think you're not going to make it. This is when people go through hospitals, bankruptcy, divorce, suicides. It's very challenging. You know, anybody can take a 3-day fever, but it's hard to take a 3-month fever. It wears you out. Now, if you know this and you know you're in a difficult time, then you lay low for a while, and you just exercise patience during that time. Do the planetary remedies for your chart. Well, one of my concerns for Senator McCain is you take this Rahu at 21 degrees, slide him over here. Wow, that's pretty close to Mars, isn't it? Mars is the brain. He's going through very aggressive brain cancer right now. And this is the 6th house of health issues, and Mars is debilitated, and badly placed. It has no power. It's in the Dustam Bhava. No power. See, this started coming at him back in June 2015. But here's Rahu now at 21 degrees. What's going to happen? He goes retrograde, so he's going to go 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, like that. But here's the problem. Rahu is actually going to hit 21 degrees on January 13th, in a few weeks. And that's the number he's going to stop at, 20 degrees. So basically, this affliction is for December, because it was already on here. As soon as it gets within 5 degrees, you know, especially 4, 3, 2, 1 degrees, the impact is there. So this Rahu is sitting on top of Mars for all of December, all of January, all of February, and all of March. We actually need to get Rahu down to about 16 degrees, maybe 15 degrees would be better. So that's basically through, this Rahu is going to be afflicting this Mars until the middle of April. Maybe a little bit less middle of March to middle of April, but still it's there, certainly to the beginning of April. Let's just check these degrees. So this is his chart. This inner circle is exactly this chart, just a circular format. The outer circle is the transit chart. Watch these degrees. So this is December 20th today. We want to get that down to about 16 or even 15 degrees. So that's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So that's middle of April. And it's 17 degrees. So it's still a little bit there. So we can even push it to the 1st of May. So this is not good. This is just definitely not good. So this is not good because Mars rules the brain and Rahu rules Cancer. So I just don't think he's going to be able to get through this in one piece. Now Rahu sitting here also throws an aspect 5 houses away, 7 houses away, and 9 houses away. So when it gets to Rahu sitting here, gives its 5th aspect onto Jupiter. So that's not good relative to liver, gallbladder, and hips. And Jupiter rules children, so his children can suffer through the loss of their father. So that's not good either. Now when Rahu and Ketu leave 20 degrees, the next time they're going to stop, if you subtract 9, it will be 11. So they're going to stop at 11 degrees late June. And that's going to be for July, August, and September for 3 months. By the way, when Rahu and Ketu are transiting even signs, the even signs are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. They can impact other planets in even signs in the transit chart or in the birth chart. So you have to watch for both. Look at right now. This is currently, this Rahu here is afflicting Mercury. Mercury's right now retrograde. But before it was retrograde, it got up to like 24, 25 degrees. But what I'm getting at is that Mercury had to go over. Easier to see it this way. I just want to show you this. It's a good little lesson. By the way, those that think that Mercury retrograde is a bad thing, they don't know astrology. Mercury retrograde is only a bad thing if Mercury is a functional malefic planet or if it's going over a functional malefic planet. Let's just say, Mercury, which for Aquarius is a malefic planet. Let's say it goes over Sun. That's not good, no question. It causes trouble. If it keeps going, it was short-lived, no problem, a week or two. Now, if it goes retrograde back over Sun, then it's a longer-lived unhappy event, and then it's going to go direct back for the 3rd time. So that's not good. That's when you have to worry if Mercury is a functional malefic planet. But let's say it was a functional benefic planet for another rising sign. Then when it goes over a planet, that's a positive thing. If it's a benefic planet, it's positive. And therefore, if it goes retrograde, then it brings a longer-lived happy event. And then it goes direct for the 3rd time. It's longer-lived happy event. So the first thing is, and this is where most astrologers are missing the boat. They don't understand the functional nature of the planets, which changes for each rising sign. See, for every planet has a functional nature. Every planet is a functional benefic planet for 9 rising signs, and every planet is a functional malefic planet for 3 rising signs. So you can study that on my online course or something, but it has to do with the position of the multiple cone signs. So let's take a look at this. We were talking about this transit of Mercury, of Rahu coming under the influence of Mercury. I'm sorry, transit Mercury coming under the influence of transit Rahu. Okay, so Rahu throws an aspect 5 houses away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when Mercury got into Scorpio, this Rahu here had the potential to afflict Mercury, but only if it's within a 5-degree orb. Remember that. If planets are not within 5 degrees of each other by conjunction or aspect, there is no impact. You know, you take 30 degrees in a house. You can put a good guy and a bad guy in the same house, and they can coexist if they're in opposite wings. But if you put them in the same bedroom together, there's trouble. Or if you put them in the same closet, there's more trouble. So it has to do with degrees. So here's Rahu sitting here about 26 degrees. We're going to watch this Mercury climb up here. In Scorpio. So as Mercury was going up toward the 26 degrees, Rahu and Ketu are coming down to the 22, 21 degrees. So now let's look at it. Here we go. So here, this is when they started to collide here. We could put it back a little bit more if we want here even. But that Mercury is fast moving. Okay. So technically right around here, this was December 12th, 2017. Now this is actually the third time. See, Mercury actually went in there before. Let me go back even a little bit more. This is a great little case study here. Okay, here's Mercury now at 15 degrees direct, and he's moving this way and coming under this Rahu here at 25. So let's see when they first got together. Okay, here's Mercury within 4 degrees of Rahu. This is 21 and this is 25. So here, this is back in November 16, 2017. This Mercury is coming up here. It's a malefic planet, by the way. And look at it, it's transiting over this Jupiter and it's coming under the influence of this Rahu. That's not good. And by the way, here's Rahu at 25 degrees and his Jupiter is 22 degrees. So this Rahu was doing double work here. It was afflicting this Mercury and it was afflicting this Jupiter. There are 3 ways to look at transits. Transit planets can impact natal planets. Natal planets can impact transit planets. And transit planets can impact transit planets. 3 ways to look at it. Triple transit effect. So this is in November 16th. So this is probably a week or 2. It was only a week. So it went fast. But then it came up here and then it went retrograde. So then it comes back the second time around the middle of December. Okay, so now it's starting to close in here. So let's see how long this one takes to get away from, we need to get this Mercury away from this Jupiter and away from this Rahu. So here, look at this, it's not good. This is Mercury was afflicting Sun, it was afflicting Venus, it was afflicting Jupiter, and it was under the affliction of Rahu. So it carries the Rahu poison, Rahu cancer. So here's 19 degrees, this is 21. This is December 21st, it's there. Now it comes out of retrograde motion, but at 21, and Rahu's 21. So it's actually going to get worse on December 28th. And then it starts to separate. We got to get it away from Jupiter, and we got to get it away from Rahu. There it is. So this is January 3rd. If you've been reading my weekly column, you notice I've been saying January 3rd a lot, because that's when Mercury gets away from Rahu. Now, here is transit Saturn, which is a slow-moving planet, going over his Rahu. See, his Rahu is at 8 degrees. This transit Saturn, 7 degrees. So this is not good either. And see, Saturn is Ayush Karaka, significator for longevity. Rahu's an eclipse, operating and is transiting out of the house of health issues. So he's going to be in trouble until we get this Saturn away from this Rahu. So that's the end of January. It's a little bit of relief. More relief the middle of February. But this Rahu at 20 degrees is still sitting on that Mars, still aspecting that Jupiter. So I don't see how he can survive this stress. It's unfortunate. He's a good man. He's served the country well. He means well. So, but the transits can conspire, and we cannot hurry along the planets. So hopefully he'll have some. The other issues, as astrologers, we cannot reveal the date of death, because there's always some level of divine grace. So we just pray for him and wish him well and his family well. Oh, okay. I hope this lesson today was helpful.